my life's privilege to interview with you and to learn from you about this amazing journey that came out of your inspiration and perspiration through Mardi Gras. It is such a rare opportunity of life. Thank you for accepting my request.
When I was a child, we were raised by 4 old maid school teachers in the United States of America in 1940. Before that, you couldn't teach school and be a school, in other words, be married. Sounds crazy, but that was the law of the land. Anyway, so we moved, we didn't have that money for rent. So we moved in with these old ladies. And I used to go to the library. I read H.G. Wells, Sir Arthur Conan Doyle, Jules Verne, Edgar Rice Burroughs. I was going to the moon before Sputnik. And my mother always had a saying, remember, Blaine, the shadows are always darkest where the sun is the brightest.
Yes.
So you keep your feet on the ground, but reach for the stars.
Yes.
What a tremendous family we had. We sat together around, eating breakfast, like I said, with no breakfast at all, coffee at all. But and Mama was Italian, so she cooked, meatloaf. And she used to curse in Italian. The curse was figati puttana. And I do it because my mother never cursed other than that.
So is that how you got inspired to be an entrepreneur?
All I know is that I wanted to do things and impact not only me, but my fellow man. Yes, I wanted to be exceptional. And I was a stupid ass because I was rich, good looking, and I used women. And I don't like Blaine Kern anymore because what a jackass I was. I'm no longer that.
But as an entrepreneur,
Yes.
as this creative entrepreneurial mind that you have, how did you take your rough journey, early years, and transform that into this productive creativity? And what inspired you to do that?
Well, you see, I came back from the Army, World War II. My mother was sick and needed an operation. There's a local doctor in Algiers named LaRocca. I painted this mural, this parade called Algiers, Louisiana. And in other words, and it came out so good. Darwin Fenner, his grandpa was Charlie Fenner. They started a company called Merrill Lynch Pierce, Fenner and Bean, the biggest stock merchant firm in the world to this day. Anyway, he saw my work and he sent me out a guy named Walt Disney came to New Orleans and he visited the Rex Den because he asked me to do the first Rex Parade in 1952.
Wow.
And when I came over and in other words, he saw my work, he sent me to a place called Viareggio in Italy, where they made only about 9 or 10 floats, but they were 90 feet tall. They carried over 100 people each one. Anyway, what I did was I went there, and then it was good, but I saw better sculptured work. Where was that coming from? It was coming from a town called Valencia in Spain. So I went to Valencia, and I met a guy named Salvador Jimenez. In other words, and he showed me figures. Anyway, I brought all those ideas back to New Orleans. How to make a mold, how to break it off. You couldn't go and buy magenta or turquoise paint then. I mixed my own colors. In other words, put animal, found it, boiled it, and mixed it. And that's the only way you make colors. Nobody had a tack gun, an automatic. You put taxing your mom with a magnetic hammer. Anyway, it was something else.
So, so you got this inspiration when Walt Disney came here, and then you went to Spain. You created this beautiful
Yeah.
transformation
Yeah.
of, I want to say, technology,
Yeah.
or art, whatever that is. And then you began the journey with about whatever 10, 15, 20 floats that were there at
Yeah.
that point, with 100 people each in it.
Yeah.
And today, it has become this huge, amazing event
They
of life.
said, Blaine, what are you going to do? And I said, I'm going to let Jews in, blacks in, Italians, because at one time you had to be a white, old-fashioned family or some baloney. They said, you ruined Mardi Gras. Well, it was a $250,000 industry. That's all it was. It's $1 billion
Wow.
for today.
Yes.
And because of that ruining I did.
Yes. And it is
You
all
know what?
Yes.
I can't walk in the street and people don't come over and hug me, kiss me, and say, thank you, Blaine.
Yes.
Don't thank me. Thank the big guy, Jesus Christ.
Yes.
I believe that with all my heart.
Yeah. So God inspired you to
Completely.
create this
Yeah.
amazing transformation
Right.
and change the city of New Orleans into a massive place that everybody in the world knows about
They do.
because of the creation of the Mardi Gras event designs and concepts by you, Blaine. Is that correct?
Yes, it is.
Well, isn't that the biggest gift God gave you?
Oh, it is that.
Right.
And you know what? That's the only thing bad. I feel awkward when people do that. So Holly says to me, my wife, my beautiful wife, Holly, says, oh, Blaine, all you do is you tell people you're not doing it. Jesus Christ is doing it.
Yes. Yes. Well, that's one way to define where the inspiration comes from,
Oh,
right?
it is that.
So, Blaine, having achieved everything you wanted in life through the journeys from your school days,
Yeah.
what are some of the things, what are some of the pointers, or what are some of the qualities that set you apart, that should inspire the new generation of entrepreneurs who admire what you have done and want to be a part of that journey? What would you say to them?
I think one thing is you need to be in love with life itself. You have to think, you learn to think about your fellow man as much as you do yourself. Anyway, it's something else. Yeah, I can't, it's hard to even explain.
So, what are one or two things, Blaine, that set you apart in life? Of all the people that wanted to do the same thing that you did, what are one or two things?
I was meeting Walt Disney,
Walt Disney meeting?
coming to New Orleans. He came to New Orleans, and Mr. Fenner brought him to the Rex Den. And when he saw my work, he said, son, visit me out in California. He was going flying, and I went with him. When I walked through his studios, through the yards, hi, Emma, hi, Josephine, hey, Alice, June, whatever. Nobody called him Mr. Disney. They called him, hey, Walt, hey, Walt, hey, Walt. And I said, boy, I want to be like this
Him.
guy. He was my absolute hero.
Right. So, connecting with everybody in society and work was one of the inspirations that you
Yes.
got. So, that's an element of your success, that you were able to connect at the level of humanness with the people that you created with. Is that correct?
Right.
And that was done by design.
It
Right.
was.
Okay. From a customer point of view, your son, whom I interviewed, also Barry,
Yes.
he said that one of the missions of Mardi Gras, this whole corporation, has been that you have put the customer ahead of everything, and that you not only grew with the customer, but you made the customer grow with you, right? How did you manage that in the early years of your journey when such relationships didn't exist?
Because I had seen things that they had never seen. I'd been in Spain, I'd been in Italy, I'd been in the Carnival of Nice and all this, and I saw what could happen, and they didn't have that, that sense that I'd had and the experiences. You need to experience the whole world, in other words, and condense it into your own thoughts, and then put that in somebody else's mind and convince them that you could make their activity more exciting and more fun and more productive than anybody else.
So essentially, Blaine, you observed, you learned, you traveled, of course.
Right.
You connected the dots
Yeah.
that were made available
Yeah.
to you.
Yeah.
You created the value proposition and you brought it to your customers.
Right.
Is that how it all began?
That's it. Exactly right.
Correct. So, if, as you know, I see you with a lot of students walking around in the studios here.
Yes.
They always love to be affiliated with you in terms of that they have met this, amazing man.
Yes.
In return, give them a couple of things you would say to them that
Say
would
again.
tell them a couple of things
Yes.
that you would, as they adore you, right? Then there must be some wisdom that you would share with them as a human being or as an entrepreneur that they could take home and say, I learned this from Blaine Kern himself. What would those things be?
All I know is that you need to absolutely have a passion, the word's passion, for the work you do and love it and feel I could do it better than anyone else. And I want to show that I can do it. In other words, and when they see what I've done, why can't they? If I can do it, who's not super smart, they can do it. Anybody can. You have to pray to God, to Jesus Christ. I believe that.
So do you feel that in your inspirations that you continuously got, that you were connected? I resort to spirituality or
Yeah.
you resort to religion, whatever that is, that you were connected to a power that directed you to creating these possibilities.
Exactly. Power beyond me, completely beyond me.
Right. But you need to have the skills to incorporate what was being said, right? Otherwise, it doesn't work. Right?
I guess you're right. Yes, you're right, of course.
Right. So, as you know, in this book of What Not to Do in Entrepreneurship,
Yeah.
there are a lot of entrepreneurs who, inspired by this whole media empire that you have created, which is not, although headquartered
Yeah.
in New Orleans, it has its roots and existence all over the world.
It is that right.
Right?
That's right.
So, give them a few words of your wisdom to say, this is how I got inspired. This is how you should get inspired, because what I achieved, you could achieve too. What would those be?
All I know is that I would be so inspired. I'll give you an idea. We have millions of dollars in tractors alone. And when other crews didn't have that, the city appointed us the official mover of all everybody's parades and everything else. And my son Barry and my grandchildren are working in the field now. And I feel that they're enthused, in other words, by me and what I did. I've got a great grandson now, even.
So, we want to know, our readers and your admirers,
Yeah.
want to know, as speaking maybe like, because you are their God, right? You are
Oh,
their
yeah.
God of success. I know that's a tough one
Yeah.
for you to accept, but that's what you are. So what would be a few words of wisdom that you would share with even people like me who admire you so very much?
Okay. One of the smartest men who ever lived was Albert Einstein.
Yes.
And he said, imagination is more important than knowledge. Imagination is more important than knowledge. And that's all said. I think that answers everything.
Okay, so what you're saying is, even if you may not have knowledge, please imagine to create the possibilities.
Right. Exactly.
Right.
Yeah, yeah.
So that's only half the equation, right? Now I got the imagination, and now I have to make it happen. Now tell me how they can make it happen. Because imagination I have, skills I don't.
I don't know if I can answer that. I don't
Okay,
know.
no problem.
Okay.
But you had the skills. You have.
Yes.
So essentially, what we are saying to them is, imagine with the skills you have, how you can push the boundaries of possibilities.
Exactly.
Right? Now
Sorry.
you got the tools and you have the execution. Thank you.
Yeah, I hope you enjoyed doing this interview as much as I've enjoyed.
I enjoyed it so very
Completely.
much, Blaine, so very much. And thank you for taking the time in doing this interview. Go ahead, sir.
I was going to say, we actually discussed this. You were telling me about being tenacious.
Oh,
having to drive.
tenacity.
So can you ask
Yeah,
me that
yeah,
again?
Tenacity. I
But
thought,
let him ask again.
did I say that?
No,
We
you
will
did.
cut it.
I
We will
did
cut
say it.
You did, but we'll do it again.
It's okay. Okay. Blaine, tell us about the qualities that made you successful.
Tenacity, like I told you with my mother, who
Yes.
taught me about the shadows being the darkest, but the sun is the brightest. And I guarantee you, I can't help how I feel. I'm in love with life, and I want everybody to enjoy it like I am.
But now, in today's world, it's son and the daughters both can be powerful, right?
Right.
Right? Things have changed because
Oh, yeah.
opportunities have changed, right?
Completely.
So
yeah.
your daughters and your sons are equally powerful today,
They are that.
right? Well, Blaine, it is such a privilege of life to have talked to you. Thank you for making this happen today.
Well, you know, I've looked forward to doing this for a long time with you.
You are going to be all over the world known as the man who created Mardi Gras into an amazing success for him and his family and the world. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Right. You know what they asked you earlier? And tell him why they call you Mr. Mardi Gras.
What?
Tell him why they call you Mr. Mardi Gras.
Please.
I didn't think anybody should be called Mr. Mardi Gras, but I didn't
You
make
didn't
that
tell
up.
me, right?
The Rex organization, Bathurst, Lord High Chamberlain to Rex, dedicated that Blaine Kern, because of his work with the floats and ideas, is Mr. Mardi Gras. So Rex did that. I didn't do it. Rex declared me.
See, you earned the honor of being the Mr. Mardi Gras, and I was so fortunate to interview Mr. Mardi Gras himself.
Thank you very much.